A lion doesn't roar to be heard. He roars to remind the jungle who's silent by choice. Ascenders, we're not here to play games. This isn't a recycled video about being mysterious or quietly cool. This is about what happens when the most self-contained force in the social hierarchy, the Sigma male, decides to go full savage. And not the internet meme kind of savage. We're talking tactical savagery, precision mindset, destruction with discipline. See, a Sigma doesn't go rogue because he lost control. He does it because control was never his obsession to begin with. He walks the edge of the spectrum, where silence is more dangerous than shouting, and presence is more powerful when it's rare. So what happens when that guy stops holding back? You're about to find out. Hit that ascend button if you're not just watching, but transforming. This one's for the thinkers who move in silence until it's time to detonate. 1. The Phantom Flip. The Phantom Flip isn't about aggression, it's about transition. This is when the Sigma shifts from observer to operator. It's not loud, it's not messy, but it's absolute. For months, maybe years, the Sigma male plays the role of the ghost, present but unnoticed, listening but not participating, watching everything while doing nothing, at least that's how it seems. But he's been recording, storing data, learning your patterns, mapping your weaknesses. And when the flip happens, he doesn't tell you. He just acts. You'll notice it when the energy changes, the way he walks, the tone in his silence, the withdrawal of patience. Where once he tolerated disrespect, now he removes it. Where once he held back judgment, now he delivers consequences. No hint, no warning, just cold, calculated retaliation. People mistake this as he snapped. No, he decided. The Phantom Flip is a conscious shift from passive mode to precision strike, from ghost to executioner. It's also irreversible. Once he flips, you don't get the old version back. He doesn't return to peace, he redefines it. His new silence doesn't mean calm, it means mission mode. And if you're in his way, you won't see it coming until it's already done. 2. No more diplomatic silence. Sigma males often use silence as diplomacy. It's their form of emotional discipline. But savage mode rewires that silence. It becomes a signal of strategy, not peace. When the Sigma stops using silence to maintain harmony and starts using it to signal detachment, you've entered a whole new arena. People used to his restraint don't know how to read him now. That's the point. He's not playing polite anymore. He's done being the emotional buffer for other people's chaos. His silence is no longer a white flag, it's a countdown. Every interaction becomes minimal, every conversation clipped. He no longer edits his truth to make it palatable. He doesn't sugarcoat facts or bend his logic to protect egos. You either meet him in truth or you get dismissed by it. The savage Sigma doesn't yell, he doesn't convince, he simply moves, and silence becomes his final verdict. 3. The social delete protocol, ghosting. That's for amateurs. The savage Sigma doesn't just disappear, he deletes. Not just people, entire systems, conversations, networks, dynamics. He wipes his presence from spaces that once drained him and doesn't look back. The social delete protocol is a full detox, and it's surgical. You won't get a message, you won't get closure. You'll just wake up one day and realize he's gone, digitally, physically, energetically. And here's the savage part. He doesn't leave you guessing. He leaves you irrelevant. That's the difference. He doesn't exit for attention. He exits because your presence no longer serves the blueprint. People try to reach out, no response. Try to guilt trip, no entry. Try to fight back, no access. Because he's not blocking you to punish you. He's deleting you because the story is over, and the new chapter doesn't have space for background characters. This protocol isn't emotional, it's architectural. He's not running, He's redesigning the structure of his life, and the edit didn't include you. 4. Unsubscribing. From validation, validation is the drug of the insecure. It's the applause people chase when they're not sure of their own voice. But the Sigma male, he's never needed the crowd. And when he goes savage, he doesn't just avoid validation, he rejects it. Here's the shift. Early on, even the most independent minds fall into the trap of subtle approval seeking. Whether it's at work, online, or in relationships, there's a silent temptation to be liked, to be understood. But in savage mode, the Sigma unsubscribes completely. He stops explaining himself, stops adjusting to fit in. He becomes pure function. There's no more playing to the algorithm of people's expectations. He starts making moves that confuse the masses and please no one but himself. And that's the point. When a Sigma no longer wants validation, he becomes ungovernable. He doesn't need you to get it. He just needs to get done. The savage version isn't trying to appear cool. He's not chasing aesthetics or clout. He's building empires in silence, and if the world thinks he's lost it, so be it. He's not here to be understood. He's here to win, and that win is personal. People might say, he's changed, but he hasn't. He's just upgraded to a version that no longer waits for applause before moving. 5th strategic detachment level, 99. Most people detach emotionally as a defense mechanism. Savage Sigmas detach strategically. There's a massive difference. In savage mode, detachment becomes part of his operating system. He sees things through a lens of purpose, not attachment. If something doesn't align with the vision, he lets it go. No dramatics, no delays, no guilt. You'll see it in how he handles betrayal. He doesn't explode. He doesn't argue. He assesses value, impact, and future risk. Then he cuts. Not emotionally, but tactically. Whether it's a business partner, a romantic connection, or even a family member. If the data says they're a liability, they're gone. This level of detachment is dangerous because it's powered by clarity. He's not cold because he's numb. He's sharp because he's awake. In savage mode, his emotions don't lead, they report. And if the report says, this person no longer qualifies, it's game over. Strategic detachment also shows in how he handles opportunities. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hard no. He's no longer saying yes just to be nice, or maybe just to stay open. He's refining, trimming, executing. Detachment is his filter, and it's ruthless. 6. When minimalism becomes a weapon. You've heard of minimalism as a lifestyle, clean space, fewer things, focus. But when a Sigma male flips into savage mode, minimalism stops being about aesthetics. It becomes a weapon. He reduces everything down to what serves the mission. Conversations, short. Outfits, simple. Circle, tiny. Priorities, crystal. He doesn't have time. He creates it by cutting the clutter everyone else thinks they need. You won't hear long speeches. You won't see constant social media updates. You won't get explanations. What you get is impact, precision, and a presence so refined it makes noise without saying a word. Here's the kicker. This minimalism intimidates people. Why? Because when someone needs very little, they become very hard to control. You can't guilt trip them, can't tempt them, can't manipulate them with flash. The savage Sigma is immune to noise, and that makes him terrifying to the superficial. Every choice he makes is about efficiency. Every object, relationship, and moment is either fuel or friction. If it's friction, it's gone. He doesn't hoard. He doesn't cling. He sharpens his life like a blade. And that blade? It cuts through distractions, opinions, and expectations like a scalpel. 7. He doesn't burn bridges. He makes them disappear. The average person burns bridges when they're emotional, when they want to make a statement, But a Sigma in savage mode doesn't need statements. He doesn't burn the bridge. He erases the existence of the bridge. It's not about drama, it's about elimination. Burning bridges still leaves a trace. Ashes, smoke, proof that something once stood there. The savage Sigma isn't interested in leaving clues. He simply vanishes from the connection, the group, the conversation, and reappears in a new timeline where none of it ever mattered. This is what makes people uneasy. They can't call it ghosting. They can't say he lashed out. He just removed himself like a line of code deleted from a system. Clean, quiet, final. People wonder, was it something I did? They don't get answers, because he's already moved on, not emotionally, but architecturally. That chapter isn't just closed, it's no longer in the book. What they don't understand is, the bridge was already under review long before the disappearance. The savage Sigma studies structures silently, and when he sees rot, he doesn't warn, he just removes. And if you were standing on that bridge, you're falling into your own mess now. 8. The war behind the eyes. When a Sigma male goes full savage, the war isn't outside, it's internal. What you see on the surface is calm, maybe even cold, but behind the eyes, that's where the real fire lives. The savage Sigma doesn't fight with fists, he fights with focus. He doesn't argue, he plots. You'll notice the shift when his stare changes, not angry, not emotional, just empty of distraction. He no longer reacts to petty drama because he's playing a bigger game, one you haven't even realized exists. The war behind his eyes is silent, strategic, and already halfway won before anyone else knows it's happening. In savage mode, the Sigma becomes dangerous in the way a trained sniper is dangerous, not because he's loud, but because he's patient. He chooses his moment. He studies your moves. He lets you talk, while his brain is calculating vulnerabilities. You won't see him post a rant online. You won't hear him explode in public. What you'll get is response through action. When someone disrespects him, he doesn't call them out. He out-evolves them. When someone underestimates him, he doesn't argue. He upgrades. And when the time is right, he lets his results answer for him, loudly and undeniably. The war behind the eyes is a war of evolution. It's a transformation powered by quiet rage and even quieter ambition. The savage Sigma doesn't seek revenge. He seeks replacement of every weak version of himself he used to be, every broken pattern, every wasted second. He doesn't just want to prove you wrong, he wants to become the version of himself that renders your opinion meaningless. 9. Rejection becomes redirection. With fire. Most people take rejection personally. It slows them down, it makes them doubt themselves. But the savage Sigma? He uses rejection as a directional signal. It's not a block, it's a blessing in disguise, and he knows it. In savage mode, rejection becomes rocket fuel. He doesn't wallow or ask why. He adjusts course immediately, with zero emotional lag. The no becomes a next. The door closing becomes a reason to build a new one, with reinforced steel and a biometric lock. But here's the twist. He doesn't just move on. He levels up in silence. So when you check back later, expecting the same guy, what you see instead is someone unrecognizable. Someone sharper, harder, more powerful. Someone who used your rejection as an excuse to reinvent himself. That's what makes the savage Sigma lethal. He doesn't just survive setbacks. He uses them to pivot into beast mode. He gets rejected from a job. He starts building his own. He gets overlooked in a relationship. He becomes so evolved that the old partner couldn't even reach his level now if they tried. Rejection doesn't bruise his ego, it refines it. He takes the no and builds a never-again mentality. Not bitter, not dramatic, just laser-focused, because every rejection he faces turns into redirection with fire behind it. 10. He weaponizes time. Time is the most underestimated resource in modern life. Everyone's wasting it, spending it, killing it. But the Savage Sigma, he weaponizes it. In Savage mode, he's not watching the clock. He owns it. His schedule becomes militant. His attention becomes brutal. He slices his time into only what matters: growth, execution, movement, and everything else. Cut. He doesn't talk about goals. He calendars them. He doesn't hope for free time. He carves it out, aggressively. You won't see him at pointless gatherings, stuck in drama cycles, or spending hours trying to convince people to understand him. That version of him expired. Every second now serves a target. Wake-up time? Optimized. Learning schedule? Tight. Downtime? Intentional. He moves like a Black Ops operative on a mission. No wasted movement, no wasted minutes. And here's what most people don't understand. Time discipline equals power. The Savage Sigma levels up faster because he's not leaking energy. He's not pouring into dead conversations or draining routines. He's extracting every bit of value from his hours. Time is no longer a measurement. It's a weapon, and he's deadly accurate with it. 11. Respect isn't requested, it's forced. Once a Sigma goes full Savage, respect is no longer a request. It's the baseline. There are no negotiations, no hints, no tolerance for disrespect. Either you show it or you get ejected. In his earlier phases, the Sigma might let things slide. He might give second chances. He might even explain himself, hoping people will align. But in Savage mode, that energy dies. The rules change. He doesn't care who you are. If you cross a line, you're cut. No theatrics, no arguments, just execution. The Savage Sigma doesn't yell to gain control. He doesn't flex status. He doesn't posture. He just removes you from access. The punishment isn't emotional, it's spatial. You lose the privilege of proximity. And that's what breaks people. Not his anger, his absence. They realize they're no longer invited into the world he built. And they can't figure out how or when it happened, because he didn't warn them. He just closed the door. This type of enforced respect isn't about domination. It's about standards. The Savage Sigma no longer tolerates being kind of respected. You're either in full alignment or fully out. And the world adjusts, because when someone shows you they need nothing from you, you start respecting everything about them. 12. The Ascended Ego. People love to say drop the ego as if it's a bad thing. But when a Sigma goes Savage, he doesn't drop it. He ascends it. The ego stops being a weakness and becomes a compass. A Savage Sigma isn't arrogant. He's unapologetically aware of his value. In this mode, he stops dimming his light so others feel comfortable. He stops downplaying his wins to make small minds feel bigger. He embraces exactly who he is, flaws and all, and makes no room for false humility, not out of insecurity, but out of clarity. The ego is no longer performative, it's protective. He no longer needs outside confirmation of his worth. He defines it internally, and that definition becomes law. This evolved ego isn't about thinking he's better than others. It's about realizing he no longer has to compare himself at all. He's in his own lane, on his own level, with his own metrics. The ascended ego doesn't flex, it builds. It protects vision, it filters out distractions disguised as compliments, it rejects energy that doesn't match purpose. When the Sigma fully owns this version of himself, something wild happens. His presence alone commands energy. He walks into rooms differently. People feel his boundaries before he says a word. The Savage Sigma doesn't explain himself anymore. His frequency does it for him. 13. Hyperfocus. Lockdown. Savage mode means hyperfocus, a lockdown state where everything outside the mission is irrelevant. This is where the Sigma becomes nearly inhuman in his discipline. The phone goes silent. The world fades. It's just him and the work. He's not motivated by money or applause. He's locked into something deeper, legacy. He's crafting a version of himself that doesn't need trends to stay relevant. He builds in silence, studies in shadows, executes in isolation. Sleep becomes secondary. Comfort becomes optional. The mission takes over everything. If he has to cut people off, disappear from the radar, vanish from the noise, it's done. No guilt, no explanations. What outsiders call obsession, he calls alignment. When he's in this zone, the rules don't apply. Time bends, doubt dies. There's only one outcome, progress, and it's not for validation. It's because the Savage Sigma refuses to leave this earth as anything less than a living weapon. He's in training, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually. He's rewriting his entire operating system, and until the upgrade is complete, he won't surface. When he does, he's unrecognizable. 14. The final silence. Walking away without looking back. Savage Sigma doesn't do drama. He doesn't do closure. When he's done, he's done. The final silence isn't emotional. It's surgical. This isn't about ghosting. It's about evolution. When he walks away, it means he's ascended so far that the previous chapter can't even access him anymore. The people, the conversations, the cycles, they're not just in the past, they're below frequency, and he never looks back, because what's behind him isn't failure. It's finished business. The final silence is more powerful than any goodbye. It's a statement that says, this story no longer deserves narration. People try to reach out, thinking they can pull him back, but he's already built a new timeline. He's operating in a version of life where the past no longer has coordinates. That's what true savage energy looks like. Clean exits, no explosions, just disappearance. You won't find pieces of him scattered behind. You'll just feel the void and wonder how something so quiet can hit so hard. Ascenders. This isn't a warning, it's a blueprint. When a Sigma goes savage, the world doesn't clap, it adjusts. He doesn't rage, he rises. He doesn't prove points, he builds proof. This version of the Sigma isn't here to be liked. He's here to ascend and take back every ounce of power he gave away while playing nice. No more pretending, no more explaining, no more shrinking to fit in broken systems. So if you're watching this and feeling that shift inside you, it's not madness, it's your moment. You're not falling apart, you're leveling up. Let them misunderstand, let them judge, let them fade. Your silence is no longer weakness, it's the storm forming. Subscribe if you're done waiting. Share this with another silent warrior. And remember, don't exist just to survive. Exist to ascend.